Pretty in the morning light, morning light. These are the things that my pretty in the morning light, morning light. These are the things that my
Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, we're going to talk about how you can't be in the spirit of God bless America and desiring for the kingdom of heaven to be established, which is going to be on earth. Okay, in Jeremiah 28:8, it states what? All right. The men before me, the prophets before me of old, would prophesy both against many countries of evil and of war and of pestilence. America and the nations that are governing embody all those things to the furthest extent. Okay? So we desire for a righteous government to flow in the earth. When you go to the top of Proverbs, the 29th chapter, it says, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And the whole world is in a mourning state. All right? So, at some point in time, that's going to put you in the category of treasonous within the society. And that's a part of the cost you got to count as a believer, which means as a treasonous, at some point in time, you're going to have to separate from this life, separate from your attachments here, because they could be used to get you to forfeit, standing for the things of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, forfeit your salvation. And some might say treasonous. Hey, that's a part of, do you realize what we're doing? We're talking about the downfall of a society and the raising up of a new one. That's why we say a lot of people don't know what they're actually a part of. You believe this Bible truly, and you're longing for what the Lord is longing for, you're hastening the downfall of this place. Now we're not doing anything physical to threaten the powers that be, but in the spirit we are. So that at the end of the day, it's going to cause you to be deemed as a wayward citizen, And that's why you sing little instances of that. You got Trump deporting people that are even citizens, So let's start at the top here. So Paul went to the church of Thessalonica, and you look at all the churches in our time, like I'm part of the Dallas church, right? People look back in the kingdom and they read about what we were doing in this time, this second great leading up to this second great deliverance. This would be the church of Dallas. The heathen, they'll be reading, oh man, yeah, this is what happened. This is what the elect were doing back before they were changed. So you got you got Jerusalem of our time, the apostles, the bishops and elders in New York, and there's different churches all throughout the world, okay? So when you read these scriptures, you have to insert yourself in it, so it becomes real to you, because these things are written for our learning, okay? Just like how stories were passed down in ancient time for the people to, insert themselves in those stories and apply those lessons within those stories to their life. These historical accounts of our forefathers are meant for us to use them in that way as well. So insert yourself in the scriptures when you read. Now this is Acts 17:1. It says, now when they had passed through Amphipolis, and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews, okay, a church, a camp. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days, now there was 3 Sabbaths in a row, but it was, 3 separate weeks, okay, and reasoned with them out of the scriptures, opening and alleging that Yahweh Shai must needs have suffered, that sacrifice had to take place for us to have access for the kingdom of heaven to be established on the earth, for us to have access to a relationship again with the Heavenly Father. And risen again from the dead, overcame death the same way the elect are going to overcome death when the Lord returns. And that this Yahweh Shai, whom I preach unto you, is the chosen, is the anointed. And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of devout Greeks, all right, because we were scattered during that Greek captivity. We were scattered even before then. You had some Israelites who just was moving around, man. Jake didn't just start getting a passport in 2025. You go to Acts 2, you said it was, you know, it gives you the example of at Pentecost, how there were devout Jews out of every nation under heaven that came back to Jerusalem. But, you know, the captivity of the Greeks, the reason why it says neither Jew nor Greek, because that was a major captivity in which we were scattered. And you're not going to find the history of that without the Apocrypha. So there's a reason, you know, that, you know, the emphasis of the Gentiles is associated with the Greeks. It was scattered Israelites in that captivity, which is what a lot of Christians don't get. But continue on verse 4 here. It says, and some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of devout Greeks, a great multitude, a lot of believers, and of the chief women, not a few. So there's going to be a bunch of women that believe too, which is why we always in the intro, I say, and the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. Whereas really, you know, I say few, but there's going to be a great multitude. There's going to be more women that are saved than men, to be honest. All right? There's not going to be more men than you know. Brothers going to have multiple women that are tied to them going into salvation. So there's going to be more women that are saved because there's more women on the earth. All right? But compared to as a whole of all the women on the earth, it's not, you know, it's a smaller portion of the women. When we talk about all of the women on earth, it's a smaller portion of the women that believe. So I'm gonna continue to say few in my intro. All right, but verse 5 it says, but the Jews which believe not moved with envy. You had hating ass niggas. You had your Egyptologists. You had your fake Christians. Like we got fake Christians today, because we're the real Christians. We're the real believers and followers of the anointed of Yahweh Shai. But you had your fake Christians that were, you know, on fire to try to keep our people asleep, keep them, you know, idol worshiping, keep them, you know, trying to exist within the society that they were in captivity in, and not wanting their own kingdom, not wanting sovereignty. You had those same spirits back then that were moving this way. Let's read it, verse 5. But the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort. You got these Christians that'll link up with just low-life niggas. You had Christians that were supporting Polite, who was an Egyptologist, who was talking about he was going to shoot up the Bible, just so they could try to see us and say, oh, see, y'all was wrong. Not realizing by you clicking up with these people who aren't even, they're not believers at all, you clicking up with these people that don't believe what you believe, is just testament to the fact that you're against the Lord. That you'll click up with any old body just to prove that we're wrong. It's testament to the fact that you're wrong. All right, but anyway, and gathered a company and set all the city on an uproar. Let's start at the top of verse 5 again. But the Jews which believed not moved with envy and took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort. When you're without the Lord's understanding, you're a base man. Like Esau, he's the basest man because he's without order. He's like a brute beast. You don't have control over your flesh. You're like an animal. Boy, I'm gonna eat this. Let me touch this. Let me put this in my. Oh, I'm gonna go do this. I want to do this. I'm gonna say this. You're just like a caveman. Like you're just led by your flesh and your belly. So they you know, you got Christians, so-called Christians today, that'll hook up with baser people just to come up against us. All right, lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company and set all the city on an uproar. So, you know, the places where you dwell, they're gonna be against you, man. You believe this Bible with sincerity, and insulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city. So we're going to be brought before kings and councils for what we believe. You're going to be looked at as a treasonist. I'm reading to you examples right now. This is what happened to Jason. And when they found him not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these that have turned the world upside down. And right now, this truth is turning the world upside down. It's in confliction with everything people believe. So the whole world right now is going through cognitive dissonance. You have a bigger portion of the people trying to cling onto the lie, which really doesn't make sense. And then they scrambling, and they got confirmation bias. They look for information that helps them hold on to the lie that they've been told. But then we just debunk that. We just keep going in and going in and going in and proving like everything that you clinging onto your way is off. So it's going to get to a point where the enemy is going to resort to physical combat. They're not going to try to keep debating and talking with us at some point because there's nothing to talk about. They're wrong. Okay? Verse 8. I will start at 7 again. Whom Jason hath received. No. We're at 6. Salaki, guys. Verse 6. And when they found him not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city. These that have turned the world upside down are come hither also, whom Jason hath received. And these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar. These guys, they're not pro-America. They're against this place. They're against it when they come with that New World Order, when they come with that MOTB. These guys, they're against peace. They want to see this place burn. They want the Lord. They want this Yahweh Shah they speak of. They want him to come back with fire and destroy this place. These men right here. And it's like when I'm saying it to you like that, it's like, damn, we do want those things, right? But it's not like we're going and committing. We're not setting buildings afire or anything. This is just something that we're longing for. But they're gonna make us out to be like we're the source of a lot of problems that are popping up. Remember, Esau, when a lot of things happen in America, like riots or just like sedition and stuff, it's really him paying. He'll set up a group. He'll set up some people to get shit stirred up, and he's gonna do that here, domestically. And you know who they're gonna blame? The same way Nero blamed the believers in Yahweh Shah in his day. He's gonna do it again. And I'm referring to Nero in the spirit. We discern for him to be Trump. Okay. Verse 7, whom Jason hath received, and all these do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king. No. We're not down with this, with the president. We're not down with the bankers, the real rulers of this world. We're not down with the elites. We're not down with the World Economic Forum and what they say is best for the people, because we know they're evil. We wait for the real king, Yahweh Shah. All right? Saying that there is another king, one Yahweh Shah. And they troubled the people and the rulers of the city when they heard these things. And when they had taken security, they took note of him. Probably whooped his ass a little bit. Assigned somebody to watch him, and we already got people assigned to watch us. And when they had taken security of Jason and the other, they let them go. So I brought that up, man, to show you that, bro, do you know what you're a part? Do you know what? If you really believe what you say you believe, this is something that you're going to be confronted with. All right? You're going to be, let's actually, don't stop there. Let's go to Acts 24 and 5. Acts 24 in verse 5. Let me see here. Look, they talk about another believer in verse 5. She said, for we have found this man a pestilent fellow. Like he's a troublemaker and a mover of sedition. Let's look up that word, sedition. Sedition, charged against Paul, insurrection. All right. An insurrection, it means a violent uprising against an authority or government. That's what that means. Okay. So we go back to Acts 24:5. It says, "For we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world." So they're going to blame the sedition on us, but there's going to be real sedition going on as well, as talked about in 2nd Ezra. "Among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes," those that believed in Yahweh of Nazareth. Okay? So that, that label is going to be put on us. It's already been put on us, but it's going to be put in the forefront of everything. You understand? We'll get another one for you all. All right, this is 1 Peter 4:14. It says, "If you be reproached," if you be looked at as the problem within the society, "if you be reproached for the name of Yahweh Mashiach, happy are ye," because that means what? You persecuted with the Lord, you're going to be glorified with him as well. Okay? "For the spirit of glory and of God rested upon you." So this is what you're a part of, and this is the cost that comes with it. On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified. So Abaratazah, the lesson was edifying. Once more, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachahakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.